Am I the asshole for calling the police on my fiancé? Last night, my 35 male, fiancé 38 female, left in the evening to give a friend's son a ride back to his home. She implied she'd be home before 9. She left around 7:45. 10:15 rolled around and she still wasn't home. I texted and she apologized to me, saying that her friend's son was actually in the next town over, maybe 30 minutes away, and she was coming home now. 11:45 rolled around and she still hadn't come home, so I called her to no answer. Texted her to no response. I was getting very upset. 12:30 rolled around and still no response and no answer to my phone calls. I was extremely angry. 1:30 rolled around and my anger had completely transformed into worry. Not answering my calls and text not read. Around 1:45, I called the police. I have always heard that the first 24 hours of someone being missing is the most important, so I didn't want to delay. I asked them to let me know if there had been any traffic accidents involving her car, and the operator told me that they would put out the word and send some cops to check along the route she would travel. I called all the hospitals in the area to check if she had been checked in, and I waited outside watching the road for her car for 3 hours. Partially because I didn't want the kids to hear me on the phone with hospitals, and secondly because I was sick with worry. At 7 a.m., she came home. She apologized for being out and said she had no excuse. She was driving home and felt tired, like she was falling asleep at the wheel, so she pulled over to the side of the road to sleep. When she did that, she found that her brand new phone had stopped working. You mean she stopped at the grocery store to pick up ingredients for this story she's cooking up? She says she napped anyway because it was the responsible thing to do, and then came home at 7 a.m. to bring the kids to school and get to work on time. Perhaps she was at the ocean because this smells fishy. I immediately called the police and told them that she had come home safely and gave them the case number and told them to stop searching, which they did. My fiancé brought the kids to school and left for work. I set out to start cleaning. Cleaning de-stresses me sometimes. And I got a call from a policeman asking where she worked. I told him and asked why, and I was informed that it was their policy to check on the person's wellness after a missing person is found. I asked them to not go by her work but to give her a call instead. He said he couldn't promise. Oh boy. My fiancé is relatively new to her job. Oh boy. A police officer showed up and asked to speak with her. She is now enraged at me for calling the police and sending a cop to her at work and making her look bad. She is saying I overreacted and that she wasn't missing and that I was punishing her for doing the responsible thing and not driving while drowsy. She is saying that she is never going to leave the house again except for work because she is afraid I'm going to call the cops on her again. So did I overreact? Should I have waited 2 days like she suggests? That totally didn't go the direction I thought it was going to go. I think you guys were probably with me when it became this whole realization about what she was actually doing out until 7 a.m., which current story I call big old school bullshittery on. There are no other details in here that lead me that direction, but it's all just way too bizarre. And the story that was cooked up, way too bizarre. And also, they checked the route she'd be driving. They would see if she was asleep on the side of the road, and they would have stopped and tapped on the window. So, I don't know, Scoob, it just doesn't add up. The math doesn't math. Something is going on there, and unfortunately, we don't get to know what it is. But we can do a whole lot of speculating. Everybody's first response, obviously, cheating. Right? She could also have some kind of substance abuse problem. We don't know, but it just doesn't add up. You didn't know that it meant that police were going to be sent to her work. Whatever choice she made to do whatever she was doing to stay out that late was the first domino that led to police showing up at her place of work. That is not your fault. You were concerned, rightly so. And before being concerned, pissed, rightly so, you should go back to being that one and try to figure out what the hell was actually happening here, because we're not getting the whole story, but OP definitely doesn't have the whole story here either. So, OP, if you can hear us, please get the rest of the story and then let us know what it is so we can talk about it here.